Sorry for the delay, everybody. Going to call the meeting to order. Administration and Public Works Committee. First item of business is minutes of, let's see, minutes of what? Looks like we have no minutes. What happened to our minutes?
We don't have minutes to approve? Right.
Pardon me? Oh, they were in bold. I'm sorry, I missed them. Approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of October 23rd. Could I have a motion?
So
Second.
moved.
It's not going to be one of those nights, I promise.
It is going to be one of those nights.
It is. Any corrections or changes, objections, et cetera? All those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Any, okay, any objections? Hearing none, the minutes are approved. First item is, we're going to go beginning with Alderman Fleming. Alderman Fleming, will you take the two payrolls and the bills list?
Yes.
And the Amazon credit card. We're going to move through this quickly.
All right, so item,
A1, 2,
yes,
and
let me just,
2.
item A1, it's payroll October 2nd, 2017 through October 15th, 2017, in the amount of $5,061.55, as well as payroll October 16th through October 29th of 2017, $2,777.35.56. Item A2.1, the bills list from dated November 14th, 2017, the amount of $3,500,176.11, as well as credit card activity, which does not include our Amazon purchases for the period ending September 30th.
Okay, we've got to stop right there. Okay, so let's move approval on the payroll and the bills list. All those in favor of recommending those three items to the council, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, next, the Amazon purchases. Not in, all right. Credit card activity not including the Amazon.
Credit card activity not including Amazon purchases for the period ending September 30th, 2017, in the amount of $145,097.60. Move approval.
Second.
Second. All those in favor, say aye.
Alderman Rainey, I
Oh,
just
wait,
have a
I'm
quick,
sorry.
just a real quick
Yes.
comment on, and I understand why we're now separating the Amazon credit card list, but I'm also, thankful to staff because it allows us to take a look at, $11,000 worth of spending. And when I reviewed it over the weekend, there are a number of items that I think, when I think back to the meeting that we had, our special meeting where we had a number of residents come and stand in strong support of the increase in minimum wage. I remember making a comment that we all need to take a close look at our spending habits, and I hope that we probably have about 2 months from the MWEB committee looking at our 20K under and spend. But I just want staff to be mindful of it. I see items like food and supplies that we're spending money with Amazon when they could just as easily be spent here locally. So I just wanted to make that comment.
We can always look at these. I mean, they're always on the credit card list.
Yeah.
All right. Yes, Alderman Simmons.
Thank you. Just to add to Alderman Braithwaite, even in the service area, there seem to be quite a bit of service that we have providers here in town, specifically even, I don't know if we have a contract with the Ford dealership and all of those service, but we have a gentleman, for example, that's been doing business 50 years in the Fifth Ward, Mr. Bobby Pascal, who could definitely do oil changes and general maintenance that we're taking out of the city into large dealerships. So if we could look at doing business with our local contractors, that would be great.
Okay. I think we could have Fleet Service respond to that. We've dealt with that issue with the Ford people because it's kind of a different issue, which I cannot explain at this time, but.
Madam Chair?
Anyway, yes.
I can just briefly, as far as when you see, quite often you see the Ford expenses, those are for the 5-ton and 10-ton trucks that are larger than the capacity for our local dealers to deal with. But as far as any passenger vehicles, then those are should be being done in-house. At Fleet Services, but we will respond because about every 2 to 3 years we update where we're at on this, what's being sent out, what's being kept in, and if there are any options. We have the same discussion on tires and batteries. So this is a question that comes before the council every so many years to see if we should look at it, and if economic development tells us, oh, we have people we should be using, or an alderman tells us the same thing. So we'll follow up with a memo to council.
Okay, so we just did the Amazon one, right?
Yep.
Alderman Fleming, all right, all those we're going to take a roll call. All those in favor of the Amazon credit card activity, $11,807.84, raise your hand.
Alderman Rainey, I think we have a point of information for
What?
staff.
Oh, without? Okay, I thought we were dealing with the Amazon one. I thought we went to Amazon.
But she's saying you don't have a vote yet on the,
Oh, we don't have a vote on the other one?
145.
Okay, all right, on the non-Amazon purchases, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. On the Amazon credit card activity, you did move that one, Alderman Fleming?
I did.
And I
You did.
second,
Okay,
yeah.
all right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All those abstaining?
Aye.
Let's move on. A 3.1, Alderman Suffredin.
A3.1 is a construction bid award for the Chandler Newberger Community Center electrical and HVAC improvements in the amount of $488,880. This is for action.
Move approval.
Second.
Yes, Alderman Braithwaite.
On page 188, our staff indicated that the vendor was unable to comply with the requirements and that they did due diligence. And so I'm just curious to understand if I'm on the right. Hold on, let me make sure I'm on the right. I think it's A3.4. I'm going to come back to A3.4. Wrong bill. See,
You're not on Amber Construction?
It's,
What are you talking about?
so there was just something in the memo, and I'm not sure if I'm on the right page.
you're on
Alderman
the right
Rainey?
one.
You are.
And they said due diligence, and I'm just kind of curious to know what type of due diligence was done. There are a number of electrical contractors in town that can, I'm sure, wire a HV unit, and I just want to know.
I think he couldn't do the training program, could he?
That's what it wasn't clear to me.
Anybody here?
Yes, Madam Chair, Tammy Nunez from Purchasing Division is here. Just briefly talk about, come up, Tammy, about what we do as far as due diligence, but we think it would be a follow-up memo as well.
If it's a follow-up, you can follow up with a memo. I'll spare
All
you the
right.
time. Thank you. It's going to be a late night. Thank you.
Oh, you don't want to know about this?
Well, okay.
We'd like to do a report that says, here's how we handle when somebody can't meet the goal of 25%, what do we do? Because that happens far less often than a LEP that we might be a little bit under after the fact, where they couldn't meet the 15%, and then we have a fine. So we routinely either have somebody make the 25%, or it's a total waiver because there's no subcontracting opportunity. So in between is not something we have all the time. And we'll follow up.
I mean, this is a big one. This
It
is
is.
$500,000.
It is,
This
yeah.
is worth, I think this is worth hearing about. If there's anything we could find out right now, this is not like 80,000.
I agree. That was my concern.
Okay,
So
well,
I just
Tam-
don't want her to wing it. I'm like, if it's something,
Yeah, okay.
Okay, I'm
All right,
hearing
if
two
you
different
want to,
things.
if you want to
Alderman.
approve this and move on and just forget about it until
I don't
we
take
get a
the-
memo? Okay, all right. All those in favor of recommending Amber Mechanical Contractors as bid, say aye.
I think we're waiting for Tammy. I'm good with
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I'm hearing two different things. So to restate, the question is, what is the due diligence we do to ensure that a low bid or the lowest responsible bidder has done their due diligence to meet our goal of MW of 25%? And then how do we assess that it's a waiver of X amount?
Okay. Good evening, Alderman Rainey, committee, and Assistant Manager Lyons. When we receive the bid or RFP documents, we review the submittal. We look at the documentation they submit and make sure they have followed all of the directions in the MWEBE form. Excuse me. We make sure they have used all the assisting agencies that we provide in the document. We make sure that they have followed up with all our questions regarding their follow-up. They should have also advertised the bid document in one of the local newspapers to look for an M, a W, or an EBE. We also make sure that they have utilized the documents that we give them with the assisting agencies that is included in the bid and RFP document. Once all of that is reviewed, if there's any additional questions, we do follow up with the vendor. We also follow up with the project manager and make sure that they are in agreement with their reasonings, that if the project is, I'm sorry, I'm a little lost for breath here. We just also make sure that the project manager has reviewed their document and their rationale for requesting a waiver, and make sure that everybody's on the same page. We do also help them look for vendors if they do not. We also direct them to the library database portal, which they can search for Evanston and minority and women businesses. And again, I could follow up with more detail in a memo to you if there's any additional questions.
I would like the detail, and Tam, if you can focus on the fact on page 189, it says, they talk about the future they name two companies, one coming out of Buffalo Grove and the other one coming out of Des Plaines. And then it says, in addition to the electrical quotes received, none of those received their minority status. And I mean, if I Google electrical contractors in the city of Evanston, there are at least 10 to 20 companies that come up. So I would like to really understand, I would like to see their waiver application, and then if you can request a list of who they've actually contacted, I would appreciate that also.
Okay.
I'm not going to hold it up, but I am paying a very close attention to it. And I
Yes.
think we're not talking pipes, we're talking electricians. They should be able to find
Yes.
someone that satisfies our goals.
Right.
Primarily an HVAC company? Oops, sorry. Are they primarily an HVAC company?
That they're looking for?
No, are they? Is Amber, or a general contractor that's,
They are primary the HVAC.
they're mechanical, yeah.
Yes, they're not the electrical.
But it says that's the bulk of the work.
The majority of the work, yeah, they would be looking for a sub, correct.
Our city engineer is here to answer any specifications regarding the actual project.
Members of the committee, my name is Laura Biggs. I'm the city engineer for Evanston. So this contractor appears to be primarily an HVAC contractor, but this work involves sort of three major pieces. There is a big piece of HVAC work, there's a bigger piece of electrical work, and then there's some architectural build-out and finishing as they go into the walls and ceilings to do the HVAC and electrical work. Then somebody has to close that up and finish it. In this particular case, and in fact, we received a number of bids for this. A lot of them were actually HVAC companies working as the general contractor, and but in any case, whoever did it was going to have to probably sub out a significant piece of the work. And one of our concerns is that we actually send the bid documents, notices, to minority and women in Evanston businesses, and the contractor will also sometimes do things like advertise in the newspaper, but we cannot make these minority and Evanston subs respond to the contractor's request for quotes. And we can't control, once the bids come in, we can't make them go talk to them. We can ask them what their due diligence was and let them reach out. But as part of the low bid process that we abide by, we can't require them to talk to a specific company. We can only make sure that they generally advertise the project and reached out.
That's true.
That's what we're asking for, just proof of it.
I like to hold it.
Pardon me?
If I can ask,
I can hold, yeah.
what is
hold
there any issue with holding it 2 weeks?
I think we just did.
But you would like to know if there was an issue of it not being able to be done at one of the community centers if we did hold it 2 weeks, if we miss a deadline, or just to understand the decision.
This particular contract has some fairly tight schedule implications. It's not something that we can't work around, but we'll have to work with the contractor once it is awarded to change the schedule, basically.
We can bring it back on the 27th
Thank you. With the-
with a follow-up, with a more detailed follow-up.
Thank you.
Alderman Simmons would like to ask something.
So I just wanted to say, just based on the amount of even local, so it doesn't necessarily have to be minority, but local
Right.
and women, we have too many, even in the ward, we have options. So I would like to see evidence that they did do sufficient due diligence, and maybe there's an opportunity for us to connect to the service community so that they are aware. I don't know if they're missing it, but I would like to hold it to make sure that they've done everything that they could to comply.
Thank you.
It's also possible that if they did, that the prices were so high that they wouldn't have won the bid.
Yeah, let's see.
we've gotta think
Cahill
about
is right
that,
here in
too.
our backyard. and-
All right, so,
Thank you.
Alderman Suffolk.
Yeah. Sorry, Laura, before you go away, I just want to be clear, and I think the issues that are raised are very important, but are we going to be able to get this project done on time if we hold it?
2 weeks, Alderman Sufferton.
Okay. But I
For
mean,
them to get the information. Yeah.
I heard her say
Okay.
yes.
Yes.
We
Well,
only
we
do
don't
I just
one
want, I
day.
just want,
Yeah.
want clarification on that. That's all. Thank you.
And we don't want to lose the
Right.
contractor.
The issues with the, sorry, my name is Shane Carey. I'm an architect and the project manager for the project. The issues that we have with our schedule is that we have to shut the building down for a certain period of time while we're doing the electrical work. And our target for doing that is going to be during spring break. We chose that because we don't have any events for the children at the community center during that period of time. If we delay it by 2 weeks, I'm going to lose all of my buffer time in the schedule. So we have a certain amount of time that's associated with preparing shop drawings from the manufacturer of the equipment that we're going to be installing, and then they have to build it, and that takes a certain amount of time to construct. And we've been talking directly with the manufacturers, and we have this timed out that I've got about 2 weeks of buffer. So if in fact we delay it 2 weeks, I've got zero buffer, and there's a chance that it'll still work, but there's a chance that it will not. And I don't want to say that we can go forward without any trouble and it'll just work out perfectly if we delay this by 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So there's no willingness on the part of the committee to let this go forward and get the information? No, okay.
Thank you.
All right, it's the will of the committee. So this item's going to be held in committee for 2 weeks. All right. Moving forward. Simmons, A32.
A32, staff recommends that City Council authorize the city manager to execute contracts for snow towing services in the amount not to exceed $60,000. A list of towing companies is attached to the corresponding transmittal. Funding for snow towing contractors is provided by the Snow and Ice Control General Fund account, which has a budget of $60,000. This is for action.
Second.
Hope everybody read the difficulties every year we have getting our towing companies to respond to this, because they probably can make more money just hanging out on corners waiting for people to get stuck in the snow. All right, all those in favor of recommending the $60,000 for,
Alderman Rainey, have a question. My light's on.
I'm sorry, yes.
My light's on, sorry.
I didn't see it. It's
That's okay.
behind
Hiding
this.
behind the.
All right, I have a question.
Alderman Fleming.
I have a question, and I'm assuming this is the same all around with North Shore towing, but I've read in the memo that we do not receive a percentage of the tow fee, we just receive the ticket fee? That's correct?
Yes.
Okay, and so is that our contract for North Shore towing for all of the towing they do in the city?
No. There's-
No.
Well, go ahead. You go ahead.
It does vary. So, like, for instance, this duty is different than their normal towing for parking tickets, things of that nature. And I don't have the particulars, but it varies based on what task they're doing. They are our standard towing company because they're the only towing company that has a yard in town where we can, an impoundment yard. So that's why we use them, but their rates are different depending on what we're doing with them, and this is definitely one of those different features that they would participate in this, but it's not the same as when they participate in, for instance, booting. They will boot a car for us and tow it for overdue parking tickets.
Okay, so can I, after budget season, can I have that list
Sure.
of what the different fees are and what we receive and what we don't receive with North Shore? Thank you.
We do have a contract with them that schedules that out very clearly. Yes. Yes. All right. Did we vote on this?
You did not yet.
All those in favor of recommending the towing contract, the snow towing contract to the council for the winter season, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Next item is the Downtown Evanston FY 2018 request for budget contribution share. There are three sources to their funding, and they're requesting $370,000 for the 2017 tax levy, and that is for operation and maintenance, and approval of $98,670 to be split equally between the Washington National TIF and Economic Development Division for additional maintenance contract reimbursements, and $83,000 from the Economic Development Division for supplemental marketing and economic development activities. I move approval.
Second.
Alderman Braithwaite.
Thank you, Alderman Rainey. Is it possible to, moving forward, if you can send the 2017 actuals and then include that, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Any additional comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of recommending to the council, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Alderman Braithwaite?
Madam Chair, I'd like to move a 3.4. It's a special service area for the main Dempster Mile 2018 budget.
Move approval.
Second. Any discussion? We had a great presentation at
Yeah.
Economic Development. Very good. All right. All those in favor of recommending to the council, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Alderman Fleming? A35.
835, sole source purchase of Cisco Systems Incorporated, Enterprise License Agreement 2.0, cybersecurity software from Heartland Business Systems. The staff recommends we authorize city manager to purchase this Enterprise License Agreement 2.0 cybersecurity software from Heartland Business Systems. The cost of the platform, license, and professional service for 1 year is $93,425, $93,425 in year 2, and $93,425 in year 3 for a total amount of $276,000. And I move approval. This is coming from, the IT Division Computer License and Support Fund.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of recommending to the council, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next, Alderman Suffredin, A36.
Yeah, I move item A36, the renewal of the sole source Dell PowerEdge and EqualLogic SAN support agreement from Dell Technologies in the amount of $42,851 for 12 months of support.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Alderman Simmons.
The Transportation and Parking Committee recommends that the City Council consider approving free holiday parking in the city's 3 downtown self-parking garages, Lot 60 located at 1234 Chicago Avenue, Lot 4 and Lot 15, and Lot 24 located at 727 Main Street on weekends between 5 p.m. and midnight, and all day on Saturday beginning Thursday, November 23rd. Is for action.
Okay.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of recommending this to the council, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. A3.8, the 2018 Mental Health Board funding allocation. Staff recommends we recommend this to the council. $736,373 to 17 nonprofit agencies to provide needed social services to Evanston residents. The allocations range from $10,000 to $70,250 for 21 individual programs. This is reflective of a 4% reduction in keeping with the overall city budget reductions. I move approval.
Second.
Any discussion? Alderman Fleming.
Yeah, I did have this discussion with the chair of the committee, but just wanted to make known for the record, I am the liaison for the committee, and I am strongly recommending that for next year's allocations that they really look at their priority areas that deal more with mental health. I know that we have a lot of child care applicants here, and I do not discount that we need to help children in safe child care settings, but I would like to reiterate to staff that we work with the Mental Health Board to make sure that our funding allocation more closely aligns with the goals of the Mental Health Board.
Wait, say that one more time.
Well, so there's a lot of funding applications and allocations, if you look, that go to child care agencies. So there's child care funding for after-school programs,
Right.
There's subsidies, there's YOU, and what I would like to see the Mental Health Board do is to try to allocate funds that match closely their priorities. So they have their priorities listed that obviously have to do with a lot of mental health services. But I think that sometimes the funding goes off a little bit based on the applicants, and so I'm going to work with them, since I'm the liaison, to make sure that our funding matches closely the priorities of the board.
I see.
Was that
No,
clear?
Very clear, yeah.
Because we're going to, they lost money this year, they're going to lose money the next year. We know we're in the state of Illinois where social service agencies are also losing money, so I want to make sure that we are getting those funds exactly where they need to be for mental health services.
Okay. I know that
Alderman Braithwaite, does that make sense?
the Community Development Block Grant Committee met with them, and I think it's interesting, a few organizations that we did not fund, they did not fund either.
Yep.
Which is a little concerning to me. Anyway, all right, any other comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of recommending the Mental Health Board's recommendations to the council, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Alderman Suffredin, A4.
A4 is authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement with Rose Pest Solutions for rodent control services. It's a 2-year agreement in the amount of $74,880 annually.
Second.
2 of those.
Alderman Braithwaite.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a quick question, Director. First of all, question. Yeah. First, thank you very much to staff for responding so quickly to change the contract. My first question is, the 10 overnight alley rodent abatements, what is it and how many times is that? Are we paying for 10 of those at the price tag of $57.10?
Good evening, Yvonne Thomas-Smith, Director of Evanston's Health and Human Services. Ike Agbo, Interim Assistant Director, will address how those target areas are selected based on the initial pilot program that we instituted to address some really high incidence areas.
Good day. Yes, that's a tool that we do. Overnight abatement program is actually a tool that we use to address areas like Yvonne indicated where we've had a high number of rodent requests. So it's pretty much a simple strategy. What we do is we place bait boxes in these areas where we have these issues. We supply them with food, the bait boxes with food for 2 days, and that actually allows the rats to get accustomed to a new device put in the environment. And when they go into these bait boxes, the first day there's no consequence, the second day there's no consequence, the third day is pretty much when they meet their demise, and that's actually when the traps are set in these bait boxes. So keep in mind, currently what we do is we put bait in the bait boxes, but when we do this abatement treatment, what we're trying to do is trying to figure out the magnitude of infestation that we have there so that we can actually pinpoint those areas and put our eyes on those areas. So that's pretty much what it means. And this is actually a treatment tool that we adopted from the city of Baltimore, Maryland, and it's been very effective, and we've actually implemented it for the past 2 years, and it's been quite effective in killing rodents.
And just to add, just so you're aware, a lot of the, when we started the pilot, we did based on the information that we got from service requests. And what we learned by doing this strategic targeting effort, we captured actually more rodents, reducing the populations in these what we call hotspots. So we map out the service requests, we identify the hotspots, and we did this overnight abatement over the weekend. And what we learned were we were tripling the amount of rodents captured over a shorter period of time, a shorter window of time, and it wasn't interruptive to community because it was typically late at night and the rodents were removed early morning. And we've been doing it for the last 3 years. Okay. Does that answer your question, Alderman? Yes. Okay.
Signing up for the right committee. Yes, you answered my question.
Were there any
Thank
other
you.
questions? We do have the administrators of Rose Pest Solution here if you want to ask them questions directly.
Welcome back.
Thank
That's
you.
it.
Have we been doing well since?
Yes, we have. I mean, remarkably, it's only been a month, and it's a significant decrease in the rodent population and a significant decrease in the community complaints.
And that's what I'm.
Significantly, just in 30 days.
Thank you to all.
Thank you.
And thanks to us.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I know. That's right. Thank you to all.
All right. All right. All those in favor of recommending this to the council, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Next.
Staff submits for City Council consideration Resolution 87R17, authorizing the City of Evanston issue a settlement payment pursuant to a release and settlement agreement in Suzette Robinson versus City of Evanston. Funding will be from the insurance fund. This is for action.
Is there any discussion on this? Is there a second? No second? Okay.
You can
There's-
second.
I'm not seconding it. Mm-mm. No way. In fact, I even had a little speech.
I guess I'll second for conversation then.
Oh, why? You're going to second it? Is there a second for this item, or are we going to dispose of it at committee? Did I hear, what? Excuse me? What? Okay, for the lack of a second, this is being,
Discussion.
all right. All those in favor of recommending this to the council, say aye. Hearing no ayes. All those opposed, say nay. Nay. All those who are,
I'll nay. Make me a nay.
I'm a nay. We have an obligation to vote one way or another, folks. Alderman Sufferton.
Look, I think it's in the interest of the city that we have a discussion among the full council on this.
I would agree.
So I support moving it to the full council and reserve the right to vote no there.
All right, okay. I will go along with that, as long as you're going to vote no. All right, we're going to move this to the council. All right. I will, all those in favor of moving, let me put it this way. All those in favor of moving this to the council, say aye.
Aye.
All right, any opposed? Okay, all right. Next item is,
A6.
A6.
A6 is Resolution 88R17, requesting Illinois Transportation Enhancement Program grant funds from Illinois Department of Transportation for the Main Street Corridor Improvement Project. Move approval.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next, Alderman Braithwaite.
Which one are we on? A6?
Seven.
7, thank you, Alderman Sims. Ordinance 120-0-17, amending the city code to establish four-way stop control at the intersection of Harrison Street and Marcy. Alderman Sufferton is recommending that we suspend the rules and make this for action and introduction.
Second.
Approval.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of recommending introduction and action, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, I have a person on the sign-up agenda, sign-up list for citizen comment named, I think, Joyce. Do you want to speak to something on this agenda or the council agenda?
A6, I think someone needs to ask him for his resignation, so it's just
I
a
beg your
public
pardon?
comment.
What's
We
that?
need to ask him for his resignation.
Wait, excuse me.
For A6, the settlement.
That's A5. A5.
A5,
A5.
excuse me,
It's
sorry,
A5.
A5, I'm nervous.
Okay.
But I think someone needs to ask him for his resignation.
Whose resignation?
Isn't it the city manager that was charged to settle out of court?
Well, the case, okay, all right.
No,
So do you want to
thank
speak at the council, or do you want to
I will.
speak here?
I just think this
Well, when-
is just
when-
unacceptable for an African-American community. This is unacceptable for him to make comments and.
Well, but
So maybe you should speak at the council.
Okay.
Maybe that
yeah.
makes more sense.
I certainly anyway, that would be my intention. All right, next.
A8?
Yes,
Yep.
just
Okay.
a second, just a second.
Okay.
Just a second. Okay, next is A8, amending the city code. Whose turn is it? Yours.
I believe it's mine.
Alderman Fleming.
A8 is ordinance 138-0-17, amending City Code Section 10-11-3, Schedule 3C, allowing right-hand turn only from Greenwood Street onto Ridge Avenue. This is for introduction.
Move approval.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of recommending to the council, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. All right, A9, Alderman Sufferton.
Item A9 is ordinance amending the city code, section 10-11-16A for the designation of truck routes, and it is going to establish a truck route on Lincoln Street from North Campus Drive to Sheridan Road, on Sheridan Road from Lincoln Street to South Campus Drive, and on Hinman Avenue from Sheridan Road to Clark Street in the south direction only. What else do we do here? We are also going on Clark Street from Hinman to Chicago Avenue in the west direction only, and on Chicago Avenue from Sheridan Road to Clark Street. Funding for the signage will be through the general fund traffic control supplies, and it is for introduction.
Second. Hopefully, there's no discussion. All those in favor of recommending this to the council, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next, Alderman Simmons.
Ordinance 140-017, amending City Code Section 101114, operations of vehicles carrying merchandise restricted by amending restrictions on Sheridan Road. Staff recommends that the City Council adopt this ordinance, amending City Code to restrict trucks on Sheridan Road from Church Street to South Campus and from Lincoln Street to North City limits. Funding for additional signage will be through the general fund traffic control supplies. The budget is $50,000. A year-to-date balance is $3,044. This is for introduction.
Second, I have a comment. From now on, when we have traffic control issues, could we eliminate any commentary regarding the price of the signs? I mean, it just seems like it's really, really not significant. $10 or $15 for the sign. Do we need to discuss it? All right. All those in favor of recommending to the council, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, next is ordinance 26017. Alderman Fleming is requesting that we suspend the rules and introduce and take action tonight. Amending the city code to add regarding loading zones, adding the west side of Custer Avenue north of Madison Street from an all-day loading zone to morning and afternoon loading zones to coincide with school hours of operation. Move introduction and action.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Next, Alderman Braithwaite.
Madam Chair, I'd like to move item A12. It's ordinance 135-0-17, sale of surplus property, fleet vehicle. Staff's recommending city council adoption of ordinance 135-0-17, directing the city manager to offer the sale of vehicle owned by the city through public auction, being sponsored by America's Autos auction, and that's supposed to take place Tuesday, December 12th. I don't understand why this is just for introduction and why we can't take care of action as well.
Right.
Is there any
So
legal
do
reasons?
that. Do that.
Thank you.
Introduction.
There is
and
no
action.
reason you can
Oh, okay.
propose
Yeah.
it right now.
Thank you. I'd like to move this for introduction and action.
Right, and before we take a vote on that, well, let's take a vote on that, and then I'd like to do something after.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
Alderman Rainey.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Was it
Any
seconded?
opposed?
Second.
Yeah, second.
Okay, thank you.
I'd like to make a reference to the Rules Committee to see if we can't somehow or another routinize this action so that we can perhaps once every quarter take an action on this so that our staff can just routinely place these items
Sure.
up for auction when we no longer need the vehicle. We don't need to do this
Yeah.
every time.
Thank you.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
We will come back with that request. I will tell you that we follow this ordinance as a part of state law that is very much prescribed how cities can get rid of surplus assets to prevent surplus assets just going to a certain place or a certain person. So it has to be done by the governing board. To your point, we could do it on a routine basis once a quarter or
That
semi-annual.
would be really good.
Okay.
That would be really good. Because to bring us one card that's going to go to a
It's-
public, I
Yeah,
mean,
silly.
I understand that we need to do it, but yes, okay, that's a good
And Alderman
idea.
Rainey, have we,
Yes.
I always see the information go out, but I never see the information come back in. Is that?
What did we
or
get
maybe
for
I-
this
Yeah, what do
vehicle?
we get for our vehicles? Is that something that we can also, since you're going to move to a quarterly
We've
basis?
asked for it before, and.
I've never seen it.
But we've seen it when we've asked.
Okay.
But we haven't asked for it
Yeah.
lately.
We'll add that to the report. When we do the next request, we will have the most recent vehicles on what we got
Thank you.
for them.
Thank you.
All right, and then the last thing on our agenda is our overtime report, which I think tonight might not be the right night, but I think there needs to be some serious discussion about it. I was at a meeting this past week where there were approximately 11 citizens and 15 members of our staff. And I don't know how many of them were getting overtime, but that just should not happen. And if they were getting overtime, that's a lot of money. So, Alderman Fleming.
I do have a question, not for discussion, but is it possible for reports after tonight to also include a cost? Because I see hours, which seem like a lot, but I don't really know.
And we had, I will check in because the last report we gave you on an interim basis had the hours, if you recall, they gave you a table, so I will follow up on that, and we will bring it back for discussion with the costs on it as well.
Thank you.
I think there's a way, I saw the Levy Center program manager, I saw the Chandler program manager, I saw a whole lot of things going back in the budget from that overtime list. So, if you want to discuss it tonight, I just think that we're a little cramped for time. Everybody agree? Okay,
Yes,
so
agreed.
could I have a motion to adjourn? Okay. Our Planning and Development Committee meeting will start at 7:15.